Hi, John. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you for coming to my the Skype interview with me. And John is the founder of Kalmat Foundation, right?
Yes, that's right.
John, I would love to learn more about your work, your life, and the foundation that you started. How did you start it? It's really exciting to see the work you're doing in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, pretty simple concept. It actually started with something that we were thinking about when we saw these poor children in Sri Lanka. We saw so many poor children. Actually, we visited Sri Lanka in 2005, and I'm originally from Sri Lanka. But we didn't come from a rich family, but we really had everything that we wanted, the basic needs, and we didn't have to struggle. And when we were there in 2005, we saw these kids struggling to get to school, didn't have shoes. They had to walk long hours to get to school. And then we started looking into it, and we said, why? So the why question triggered. And so we started researching, and we found that these kids really don't have anything. And it's not that they are just begging on the street because they don't want to do anything because they're lazy, but actually their parents are really working hard, but they just can't afford it. So what we decided, my wife and I decided, you know what, we need to do something about it. And so we kept talking about it because we both were full-time working, and so we kept talking about it. But at last in 2011, we decided, you know what, we're going to start an organization, and we're going to actually go in and help these kids. So therefore, we founded Kalmat Foundation. And we got a group of people that have been really awesome. We selected 10 board people for the board. And they are people from different walks of life and different areas around the world. They actually scattered around the world. And so they join us with this vision. And this is our third year. And we are so excited what we're doing and how we are going about it and how the foundation has progressed.
Yeah, and what does Kalmat mean?
Kalmat doesn't really mean anything. It's the name is derived from my wife's former last name or maiden last name and my last name. So it's just the first three letters from the two names put together.
Okay.
That's how the name has been created.
I see.
Yeah, but we stand for helping children get an education so they can break their poverty cycle, and they can move forward in their future and really be great citizens for the coming years and for the coming generation.
And so what did the parents of these children do? Why can they not afford the shoes for their children? Are the other shoes very expensive? Or why don't they have shoes?
Yeah, and we did some research on that also to find out. And this is mainly in the rural areas of Sri Lanka, where these kids are. And the parents, they earn a living, different works. A lot of them are working in farms and fields, and they are masons and woodwork, and so different. You can't really put them into one category of work style or work life. But they come from different walks of life. And but the average wage that when we were looking at this is somewhere between $400 and about $1,500 a year is what they earn for the whole family. And that's about, they're supporting the husband, wife, and 2 kids or 3 kids sometimes. So with that amount of money, they would rather have a house or some type of a place where they can live, and they would rather have food on the table. So that's their main goals, and that has been their main goal, feeding the kids and getting the money for a place to stay, to live. So then all the other basic needs kind of have gone by the wayside. And doing some further research, we noticed also that, 25%, roughly almost 25%, is 24.7% of the people after grade 5 tend to drop out of school because they can't afford the smallest things. And if a pair of shoes for us in America or in Europe, 750 to 750 US dollars and about 6 euros for a pair of shoes, but they cannot afford that. So that's really, really sad. So we said, okay, well, we are going to help them with the pair of shoes. And that's how the whole concept started. And then we said, well, if you're going to get them into school, we're going to get them an education, then we need to provide books and school supplies. And so therefore we did that as well. So roughly $60 is what we are targeted to help each child. So per child per year is $60.
And that can solve their problem of quitting school, basically, and continuing their education. So
yes, absolutely.
So basically, the school is also very far from where they live, right?
Yes, in these rural areas, in this one area, particular area, so that everybody knows, it's called Kepe de Golava, and Kepe de Golava, from where they live to get to the school, they have to walk a little over 3 kilometers.
Wow, every
Most
day.
of the kids.
Oh my God.
Every day, so back and forth. And this is in the hot sun, 36 plus degrees, and no shoes. That's really rough.
It is rough.
Yes.
So, are there any? Are you going to establish some sort of little factories there, so that the locals can also make the shoes?
No, I think that's a little too way over our heads right now for us to even think about that. But the shoes are available for a pretty reasonable price. But it's just that for these kids, that they can't afford it. So that's why we thought, we're going to help them with these shoes and the books and school supplies. But what we try to do is, in order to raise funds, we created a jewelry line called One of a Kind Jewelry for Asia. And this actually was created by one of my board members, and she got a few friends of hers or partners, and they created this jewelry line, and they keep every night in the evening, or not every night, but almost every night in the evenings, they get together and make jewelry. And by selling this jewelry, we are raising funds. So that's one aspect of the Kalmat Foundation. And we are hoping that we can take this to Sri Lanka and get some people involved. Mainly the focus is going to be, and when we go this year, the focus is going to be to get some parents of these children involved. So when the parents have some free time or downtime, that they could just make some jewelry for us and sharing with the profits from the sales from the jewelry, and help their families and the kids.
And how do the parents respond to the help that you want to give?
They are so grateful. They are amazed that somebody is actually coming and looking for them and giving them some support. Because if it was not for our organization and our partners, I think it would be really rough for them, and they would be stuck in the same cycle. Because without an education, you cannot get ahead in life in Sri Lanka. And in a lot of the South Asian countries, it's the same story. You cannot get ahead in life if you are stuck if you're poor. If you're born poor, you're always going to be poor no matter what. So the only way to break that ceiling is to get an education. And if you can get an education, then there is so many more doors that'll open up, and there's so many more opportunities for you. But if you don't have that education, then you're stuck in this cycle, and the cycle keeps going from one generation to the next generation to the next.
How many kids do you help per year?
Yeah, last year was our first year that we helped kids, because that was our second year in the foundation, and we were able to help 178 kids last year. This year, our target is 310, and I know that we're going to make that 310. We're planning on going in November, which is next month, for a donation, and we're going to have like 5 different donation events. because the kids are scattered in different areas. And so there's a total of 310 kids that are going to be helped this year. So that's a goal for this year. I don't have a plan for next year yet, but the kids that we help every year, we help them continuously till they finish high school. So it's not a one-time deal where we go and help the kids and then they don't see us again. It's that we continually help them, and that's why we also have the ambassadors in place. And what the ambassadors do is they really report to me back about the kids and really coach and help the kids stay in school. If they're having challenges, they will help them get through those challenges and then kind of be a support staff to the parents as well as to the kids. So that's been a really great blessing since we started that program last year.
So when you go to Sri Lanka, do you speak their local dialect or their language?
The language, yes, I do.
Yes.
I do, and I think on the board we have about 4 or 5 of us that actually speak Sinhalese, and yes, so we can actually help them and communicate in the local languages. Yes.
So does it make it easier for your organization to help them? Just the fact that you speak the local language and they see that they can relate to you. And it's not just somebody from abroad, and who doesn't understand the situation probably, but it's somebody like local.
Yes, I definitely think so. Yes, it helps a lot. And so that's why we wanted to start in Sri Lanka, and that was one of the main reasons why we picked Sri Lanka to start. Well, the dream or the goal came out of Sri Lanka, but we wanted to start with Sri Lanka because we are familiar with it. And then we wanted to move to the other countries because I think we're going to have a little bit more challenges with the other countries.
Yeah.
Even though English is going to be a common language, when you get down to the really rural areas, it's going to be a little bit harder. Like, for example, going into Thailand or going into Bhutan or going into Nepal. So, having the local language is a big plus, I think, especially in the situation that we have right now.
And that's why it was also easier for you to establish this connection with the members with the ambassadors that you hired, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, and how many people usually live in this areas that you work in?
Well, we are open to all of Sri Lanka right now. Mm-hmm. So we don't have certain areas that we are picking and choosing. It's just that when the kids are recommended to me, we have them fill out a application form, and we then look at them and see, well, do they qualify for this situation? Do they qualify to receive the donations from us? So it's more based on individual basis. And from the child's perspective, does the student qualify? So it's not based on an area or a certain particular geographic area. But in Sri Lanka, there is 20 million people, and it's a really small country, but it's compacted with all these people. And so I'm open to going different areas. Right now, we have 5 different areas that we're helping. Mm-hmm. But they are more in schools, so we're directly contacting with the schools and with the principals, and some of them with the teachers, and some really directly to the families.
So in Sri Lanka, does the majority of population live in bigger cities, or do they live in the countryside?
I do not. I do not think that most of the people live either way, but I know that Colombo, which was the capital and is really being the old capital city of Sri Lanka, tends to have the majority of the population. Mm-hmm. And then you have some fewer bigger cities that are scattered around the country. And they tend to, like any other country, I think they tend to grab the most people just because of the industry and the work and the lifestyle, the more urban lifestyle. But then you have the Sri Lanka is really three products that Sri Lanka really has is tea, rubber, and coconut. Those are the main three exports.
Yeah.
So those are based in a lot of rural areas, and plus a lot of rice fields or paddy fields, as you call it. And so you have a lot of farming then in the rural areas going on. And so a lot of people tend to be in rural areas too. But I think that, people tend to be in the bigger cities, populated in the bigger cities, because the bigger cities are really populated normally.
Yeah, yeah. I was just wondering because I'm not sure, maybe people prefer staying in the countryside,
I think if you're stuck in the countryside, then you're pretty much you're struggling to survive, or you're doing that because you are in the farming industry or some
right.
that sort of stuff.
So, do you partner with other organizations?
Right now, we do have one partner. It's called Random Acts, and we just partnered with them in August, and so they are helping us a lot with the finances, and really they're getting to these kids. So that has been a really blessing coming from them, and this year helping us. We also think that we might have another partnership from a local association, from the past Boy Scouts association. It's called the Past Boy Scouts Association. So one of the schools in Negombo. So I think they haven't confirmed everything yet. So right now, we don't know 100%, but I really believe that they're going to partner with us as well. So other than those, we just have the others are that few companies that have sponsored. Helped sponsor us and helped. So I consider them as partners as well, even though you could call them just sponsors rather than partners. But it's all. I think we can't do without everyone. These all our donors, our supporters, and our sponsors have been a great blessing in order for us to make this happen. So without them, then we are just another name out there called a nonprofit organization. But because of our donors and because of their support, we're able to really do this and meet our goals and help these kids and make a difference in these kids' lives.
So, John, I have a theory, and I believe that immigrants can really change their home community, their communities in their home countries. So, and I see that happening with you and with other entrepreneurs that start their nonprofits or foundations. So, because they have this unique set of skills, like the local language, they know what's going on, they can do a lot better than probably bigger nonprofits or organizations just because they have this experience living in the country and they met people from there. Do you think that they could start an organization or a foundation on their own? Is it expensive to do that? Or is it totally doable if they live in the US or Europe or Australia?
Yeah, I think anything is possible as long as there's the will to back it up. So if you have a vision and if you have a will, then I would encourage someone who is wanting to make a difference in the world to go ahead and do it. Because that's the only way we're going to change the world if you wanted to. So yes, as immigrants, I think as immigrants or as people that live in other countries or that moved around quite a bit, I think all you're doing is you're expanding your horizon, you're broadening your vision, and you see a lot more things that sometimes other people do not see. And I think you're able to do more on a regular basis. If you just compare, I think you're able to do a lot more And not everybody is an entrepreneur. Not everybody can start their own business. Not everybody can run their own business. But if you have the willpower, then you can always find the right people to help you and to support your cause and support your vision and get things done. I really believe in that. And that's why, I also am a big entrepreneur, startup person who really encourages other people to start. And I would be willing to help and even give advice if somebody
Yeah.
needs some.
Maybe you could
Yes,
start a
really.
startup space or a co-working space in Sri Lanka for IT entrepreneurs, for software
Yes.
developers. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in Sri Lanka right now. There's a lot of opportunity in Sri Lanka, and I know a lot of companies are going to Sri Lanka and starting different things. Yeah, so there is some opportunity.
What do you think
But
that?
I don't know if I'm gonna do that right now. But yeah, I can take it into consideration.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what do you think other unique set of skills that entrepreneurs from Sri Lanka have? What is
Unique set of skills that entrepreneurs from Sri Lanka have.
what makes them different, in their developments, in their products or services?
I think Sri Lankans are very humble. That's one thing that I think I also have happen to have, and also that servant attitude. You're wanting to serve other people. I think that's you will see that a lot because it's a warm culture. Sri Lanka is a very warm culture,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually reading a book. It's interesting. I'm reading a book called "Foreign Foreign to Familiar." I don't know if you can see that book,
Yeah, I can
"Foreign
see
to
that now.
Familiar."
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting book because it talks about warm cultures and cold cultures and how they mix, and how you can tell or what things to do and not to do in a warm culture and vice versa. And it's a really interesting book because I never really thought about it that way till I started reading this book and like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, but in general, Sri Lankans are very warm, very hospitable, very friendly, and I think that personality helps a lot, especially when you're starting up a business. Um, but then you might need somebody who's aggressive enough to get it going,
Yeah.
and that depends on the personality of the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope that we mix the cultures in a positive way and create something great.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Especially now when I found a website that is specifically focused on uh, developing the immigrant cities, basically. So I had no idea that there are immigrants all over the world. It's not just the U.S., which is the immigrant nation, and I'm not even talking about Canada. It's Austria and Germany, and Spain. It's incredible. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I love about here, living here, is that
In
we
Switzerland,
mix
right?
in Switzerland. Yeah, we end up meeting so many people from around the world, so many different cultures, so many different languages, and one thing I really love about learning languages is because I learn that culture as well,
Yeah,
and it gives you a whole different meaning to that culture or that language, or than you really thought before. So it
right.
opens up your mind, it broadens your horizons, like I said earlier. And I just love meeting people from all over the world and connecting on many different levels
Right.
because it you make it's unique. You're meeting unique people,
Yeah,
and
I
so
agree with
that's
that.
really exciting. Yeah,
And then you also get to go home and visit and see how it grows and um, how it
that's true.
develops.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah.
John, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I really loved our conversation, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. Um, I hope you have a great day, and I wish you all the best, and all the best for Kalmat Foundation. And
Yes, thank you.
yeah, I would love to see how it, what kind of results you accomplish, and all sorts of things.
Yeah, I can't wait to go in next month to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be really quick, and I think with the tons of people are going to be helped. So that's so exciting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time and interviewing.